Alright, here we go, I suppose. Episode 1. Remember, the only requirement here is to watch it and share. It's not going to take very long, and it might help someone. So just send on the message, please. Alright, you all get kind of lucky with this first one, because the very first person that I can ever remember standing up for me, trying to protect me from the things that she saw that were happening, that she knew weren't right, was my grandmother. And she's no longer with us, so I can't tag her. This is actually the reason that it was so devastating for me when she did pass. I don't have many whole memories from when I was a kid. I can't recall whole sections of things up until I was about 10 years old, roughly. Everything before that is like broken pictures. I can see part of the image in the glass, and I can feel the emotion tied to it, but it's frozen in its brokenness, and I can't see what happens before or after it. My mind's a scary looking place sometimes, so please forgive the mess. So here in this jumbled pile of shattered pictures, we have a little family. And in this family, there's a mom and a dad and 2 sisters. What you don't see is that there's an invisible line drawn down the middle of this family. Me and the dad stand on one side, and Mom and little sister stand on the other. But Dad was the man, and he was the moneymaker of the family. And since all he had at the time was his high school diploma, the types of work were never awesome, and he wasn't able to be around much. So we didn't have a whole lot, and I was constantly in trouble because my little sister, she found out that she could find devious ways to make my mother yell at me, and I was constantly in trouble. And she thought it was amusing to watch me get so upset at being in trouble for something I hadn't done. I couldn't honestly tell you how often it happened because the memories are fuzzy. Often enough that the feeling of worthless became my mood. Couldn't do anything fucking right. Didn't deserve to be breathing at all if all I was capable of doing was making people angry. But finally someone noticed it and said something. I was so young still, and in the minds of adults, shouldn't have had any reason to be feeling the way that I was. Like, what could possibly be so wrong about this kid's life that between 6 8 years old, she talks about killing herself? Or worse, it must just be a cry for attention because she's jealous of having a little sister. I don't think that while she was still here, my grandma ever knew how truly suicidal I had been the first time she stepped in and said, "Stop it." From that moment on, wherever Grandma was, it became like a safe zone for me. I knew I could trust her not to let me get hurt for things that weren't my fault. She still yelled at me when it was my fault, because trust, I was still a kid, and I still did shit I shouldn't ought to be doing. But she saw how much what was happening was really hurting me. She believed me, and she stood up for me. Saw how upset and confused I would get at not understanding what I was doing wrong all the time. But I'll never forget. I still, even right now, even though my memories are so fuzzy, I can remember that moment. Even now, the only word to describe the feeling is the utmost gratitude. Such an intense feeling of love and light. Still hitches my breath a little. Because maybe, just maybe, if this one other person could see that I was worth fighting for, then maybe, just maybe, I still deserve to breathe. So episode 1 is for you, Grandma. Even though you're not here, I know you can see, and I know you can hear me. You saved my life. I'm still here because of you. Thank you for not being an innocent bystander. Thank you for doing something. It mattered. It will always matter. Episode 1, Grandma.